It's time for the Hume Footy League. The excitement of what is happening at this time of the season. And Phil Bouffler, he's got his rubber boots on still. He can't get out of his ute anymore. It's just so wet. He joins us now. Hey, Phil, how are you?
Well, thank you. It's pretty wet over here. Since I spoke to you last week, we've had another 43 mils, so it is wet. Like a crop to put in, but I think they put the cue in the rack now. I'm not sure that they're going to get on the ground for a while. Next week's forecast to be a bit of drizzle and rain on and off.
Yeah, and is the crop coming up out of the ground with that, or is it just too wet?
There's been a few problematic areas. People have actually resowed the second time, and they're just not sure. Then they've copped this 30 or 40 mil on top of that, so I'm not sure whether that's going to come up. There's been problems in some areas, just low-lying areas and that sort of thing. But if people have got crop up, if the crop's going ahead like a house on fire, but those that have just sowed in the last week or so, it's going to be a bit problematic to what happens with that. I mean, a lot of those blokes have had two goes at it re-sowing, and they've had to spread it on. They couldn't get on the air seeders, they were stripping over it, spreading it.
Yeah.
So that's not normally a great idea.
No.
You know, desperate times call for desperate measures a little bit, so it was all they could do.
Yeah, and of course, people getting bogged in the paddock too. I bet there's been a few tractors being pulled out and those sorts of things.
You could spend a day on Twitter, Rain, looking at all the horror stories. Well, you know, there was a bloke up at Morris spent a day getting dug out with a huge big excavator, and the mess it leaves behind is just unbelievable.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Well, it's no doubt about it. Everyone's pretty happy except for the soggy wooden footy fields that we're playing on. But I'll tell you what, they're pretty happy at Osborne. They're a little bit like the old Hawthorn, unbeatable at the moment. 19-17, 131 to Henty 4-8-32. And Phil, they just seem to be able to nail every opposition very early, 13-8 to 1-4 at half-time. They're dominating at the moment, Osborne.
It's a bit of their circuit, Wayne. They get away to a flyer, Osborne, so they've often, 5 or 6, 7, 8, 10 goals in front of quarter time, and then the game levels out a little bit. But, Handy, good side, but just not in the same class as Osborne. They're just too good. So that's a huge win to Osborne, really, nearly 100 points. Was a great win out there.
A real good win, and Shannon Turlick, 4 goals out of 4 goals for the Henty Swampies. But here's the goal scoring again, and I mentioned this last week. They share it around as though it's a picnic day. Macaulay Armstrong, 3. Barr, Galvin, that's Connor, 3. Riley Watson, 3. They're just all kicking multiple goals from all over the place. A lot of goal scorers, and so that's a good side. What about this effort from the Billabong Crows? I thought this was a real good win because you tipped Lockhart last week, and maybe a little roughy, but at Lockhart, maybe their first win was on the agenda, but the Crows were having none of that. 14-11 to 4-10.
They won easily in the end, Wayne. It was a game at Lockhart. I think they had a 82 grand final, 40-year reunion. So it was a sort of the perfect storm to have a good game and that. But once again, they tried, but the Crows were too strong. And, Lockhart are just in a sort of a rebuilding year. And, there's a lot of young kids in there, and they're just getting a bit of games under their belt, first grade experience. And they'll be much better for it next year. So, but the Crows, it was a good win to the Crows. Normally they have a pretty close game, these two teams. But, not this time.
And O'Riordan was very good. He kicked for Jake Nicholson around the ball, was very, very complete footballer. Nicholas Morris, 3, and Nathan Cook, and his efforts were rewarded with a couple. Angus Creek played well, along with Luke Argus for the struggling D's. But in other matches, it was a big win by Carl Can. Maybe a little upset here at Walla too. It was a beauty. 8-14, 62 to 6-8-44 against the Ramwell Wundu Walla Giants. A great win for Carl Can.
Good win to Carl Can. Randall Bone had a good win the week before, so it was a good win to Colcan. They're almost one of the form sides at the moment, so they're just going along quite nicely. Even though two or 3 weeks ago they lost at Henty by a couple of points, gave them a bit of momentum, and they've been playing well, so that was a good win to Colcan.
Brian Leschke tried hard along with Daniel Leschke, the two boys. They're doing their best, but Nathan Wardius has got a couple of goals here. But Patrick Wall and James White a couple. Nothing much in it. Low-scoring game. James Pitson and Marcus Roberts did some damage with the ball around it, and they certainly were in the better players. 130 was the scoreline for Jindera. 18-22. Murray Magpies 7-2. Not much probably to say here.
No, not a lot to say there. Ginger have sort of hit their straps again. They've been up and down a little bit, but they've found a bit of form. And but once again, I've said all year, and I actually mean this. You see these quite big differences in the score, but it often doesn't reflect the game. The Magpies would have battled hard all day, and but Ginger are just too strong, ran away at home.
It did. Danny Warren with 4 and Mitchell Lawrence and Will Strauss with 3 each. And Ryan Speed, very good on the day for his side. Having a look at other matches, and Holbrook continued to show why they are right in that top echelon. They were very, very good again. Kicked a score of 13-12-90 to CDHBU 5-2-32. The year that promised everything for the Power. The lights, we said last week, had gone out. I reckon now the electricity account hasn't been paid for and they've pulled out the Stobie poles.
I might have to call them the solar power as we move into winter. They're running out of steam a little bit, so they'd be disappointed. They've got a good side, CDHBU, so they're just maybe not gelling or something. So, as I said at the start of the year, they got off to a flyer. And, but they've just sort of fallen in a bit of a hole. So, it was disappointing, but once again, Holbrook a good side.
Yeah, very good side. In the end, they showed why they're going to be a side come finals time to watch out for. In other matches, How Long were great. 8-12-60 over against, I should say, and other matches, Brock Burham that were 11-15-81. Too good for How Long. 8-12-60. I think you tipped How Long, and I reckon you went to this game. So how did you see it, Phil?
You're right on both aspects, Wayne. I did go down there. Great facilities and a great day. It was good. It wasn't a bad game. It was pretty close all day, but Burham Buttigieg had a bit of class about them, and they were just too strong on the day. How Long had their opportunities, but they just weren't good enough on the day, really. So they'd be disappointed. I would have thought they would have gone a little bit better, might have been a little bit closer, but it was still a good game. And, but just not up to it on the day.
They weren't. Okay, two arch rivals take each other on, Calcan and Holbrook. Now, this is a very special game for Calcan. They're raising money for MND.
They've been having an MND over there for a few years now, and they're having an MND day again this week or tomorrow. So that's great of the club to do that. It's a very worthy cause, very topical at the moment with the big dip plunge or whatever they call it in Melbourne coming up with Neil Danaher and that. So, so that's great. So Colcan at home, they'll be up and about. Holbrook are playing very good football. This will be probably the match of the round.
Yep.
And I'll tip Colcan at home, I think.
Oh, gee, it's going to be the big freeze. It's going to be cold too. If it's going to be drizzly, I'm going for Holbrook to win it. Billabong Crows play How Long. This at Urana. I'll tell you what, this could be really interesting. I think the Crows will come out well after their win last week. How Long, I think, should beat them, the Spiders. But there is a little spider that crawls up that sheep yards tower at Urana, opposite the Oval. I just don't know whether there might be something being said there about that.
I don't think our Lindsay Wincy might have been washed away, I think, down at Urana. So even though they had probably, I think they only had probably 25 mil down there, probably had a little bit less than a bit over half of what we had, so it's a bit dry down there. But I think How Long will come out and win that game. It's a good facility, good ground at Urana, but I think How Long will bounce back after last week.
Henty get the opportunity to rebound after their loss to Osborne last week. They get their other adversary, Lockhart. This one is at Waller. So a very good chance here for Henty to respond, and I think they will.
I agree, Wayne. So the old Farah League rivals are back at it again. Playing at Waller, obviously. This is probably the game I'll go to and try to get to everyone's home games. I haven't been to a Henty home game, so I'll travel over to Waller on the weekend. So Henty will be too strong.
And what about this game? Osborne at their big match against the CDHBU Power at Careen. I think the Power season's shot, and I think Osborne will shoot them one last time.
I think Osborne will be too strong. Now, one of these weekends, CDHBU is just going to hit their straps and they'll improve. Not sure it's going to be against Osborne this weekend, though.
No, I don't think so. Ramble Bunbury Waller take on the Murray Magpies. Now, Phil, this is a really important one for the Giants. They've had a bit of an up and down time, but if they want to be a top six, they've really got to beat the Murray Magpies. I think they need a bit of percentage too, so this is the game they're going to have to win and win well. They
will. The Magpies play well at home too, so they'll be trying. I think Rand will be too strong, the Giants. It's a must-win game for them, and they've got to make these games count, so they'll be trying, and I think young Warriors will get a few goals, and I think the Giants will be too strong.
Yeah, the Learski boys will get going. They'll battle hard, the Magpies, but it will be a battle, that is for sure. And Brock Burham, they take on the Gindera Bulldogs at Brocklesby. I'll tell you, I reckon this has got a bit of match of the round billing about it too. Gindera, an improved side, but Brock Burham, I think, will be too strong at home.
After last week, I haven't seen Gindera play this year. They're only going back and been to yet, so I haven't seen Gindera, but they've had a couple of really good wins, and they were going along pretty well, and had a couple of unexpected losses, and now they're just starting to hit their straps. A big win last week for Gindera, probably against one of the lower sides. So, let's see how they go against the BB Saints, who played very well last week. So they're a good side. And I just think at home, the Saints will be too good.
Yeah, John Spencer's kicked 36 goals this year, and I think a chance for him to add another big score to that number. And I guess one of the watches of the year is whether or not he, amongst other players, might get close to the big 100. But a big round this weekend for him if he kicks a lot of goals. Hard to kick him in the wet, though, and that's where it's going to be, Phil. A lot of wet ovals, but no one's complaining too much because it's better than the opposite, isn't it?
Exactly right, Wayne. So all the ovals are in great nick, and that a lot of the clubs have had work done on their ovals, and they're holding up pretty well. A wet winter's going to test them out, but so far they've been pretty good. You wouldn't want to get 3 home games in a row, but just spread around a bit and spreading around the grounds. We've got 2 or 3 clubs in the league. We've got 2 or 3 home grounds, so they can spread them around a bit to sort of spare the other ones. So it's working out pretty well at the moment.
Very well, and a good competition. A lot of interest in this season, particularly post-COVID, and the reality of it, where we're seeing some really good football played in our local competition. At the moment, Osborne lead it on the top of the table. Brockburham in second place, followed by Holbrook in third. They're the 3 sides that are clear. And how long next with 20 points, 2 behind Holbrook. Ginder is 16. Culcan in 6th place, 16. Billabong Crows want that with 16. They need a win, and Ramwell Bundrywalla and CDHBU both on 12 in touch. But drifting if they lose this weekend, the seniors at the CDHBU. But we'll watch it closely, and Phil Bouffler will get your comments on it next week.
That'll be fine, mate. We've got a general bye in the league next week, so for the long weekend. So clubs can have a bit of a regroup, and if there's a few niggling injuries, gives them a chance to get over that. So I think everyone likes a bit of a week off, especially on the long weekend. So it's worked out pretty well. So it's a good draw.
Yeah, I think it is very, very good. And we might even consider a week off for the commentators. So we'll catch up next time.
Good on you. Thanks, Wayne.